All right. So this is a little weird for me, you guys. I've never did this before on YouTube and on Facebook, but I am just gonna tell you guys my personal experience with uh, two miscarriages and a stillbirth. So I honestly don't know where to start with this because it's still a topic for me. Like it's one of those topics where you know I try to keep it under wraps because it makes me uncomfortable, and I still haven't um, fully kind of explained it to my kids that I do have. So let's just make that clear for once. I do have kids. I have five beautiful babies, but um, in between my last few, that's where I started having um, complications, basically. And all of my babies are C-section babies. So, um, something medical. We're not going to get into it, okay? But with that being said, I didn't experience my first loss until after my second child, which was my daughter. 2016, I found out I was pregnant. I was working in a factory, worst place you can be, especially during pregnancy and high risk pregnancy at that. Um, but I was pregnant working at a factory, and one day I went to the doctor's office right after work, and one of the supposed to be a good day turned into one of the worst days of my life. And every day, like I can vividly replay it in my head. um Went there, it was an ultrasound to see how the baby's growing and everything like that, because right before that she was perfectly fine, there was nothing wrong. We did all the little genetic testing. I was 25 weeks. Okay, so we got all of that out their way, and I thought I was in the perfect space to start telling, like, hey, I am pregnant. And just it went left, because when I got there, um we're in the ultrasound room, and you're get during the regular things, taking off your clothes, and you sit on the table. She starts, you know, going around my stomach, and I would, just asking what's going on, just the regular, what's up. And she was like very vivid, like very vague with her answers, and I kind of felt something was wrong. But just being naive about it, like, no, not gonna happen, right? Cool. She starts doing the ultrasounds and everything, and it's just, you know, something's not right. She tells me, hold on, give me a moment, I'll be right back. She comes back in the room, and I'm just like, is everything okay? Because now you're acting weird. Okay? You acting weird, and I need to know what's going on. You leaving out the room. That ain't never happened. Like I said, two prior to this one. Um, and she was just, you know what? We gotta you gotta come in tomorrow so she can talk to you. And I just immediately started panicking. I panicked. I'm like, no, check again. Like, what's going on? I want to know what's going on. Like, I started putting pressure on her. Like, tell me what's going on. Even though I don't know if it's her job, I didn't care at that moment. Your job was to tell me what was wrong with my child. So I'm freaking out and I'm panicking. I'm just panicking, And I'm like, check again, check again. I'm telling her because at this point, I asked her, like, is she breathing? What's going on? Do you see any movement? She's like, no, we don't see any movement. And at this point, I'm just like, whew, I'm hysterical at this point. I'm cussing, I'm fussing, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Excuse my language, but I just lost it. Okay. At this point, I know my baby gone. Because she's like, oh, we want you to come back in. Mm. We want you to come back in and um so we can get this handled, right? Um I couldn't deal. I could not deal. Um it was like it was not real. It was not real. So I just, I was like, I couldn't think, I couldn't function. And then I walked out from the back, and I seen the mothers in the waiting room, and I didn't want to panic them, but they seen a panic in me, and I'm disorientated. Like it's just everything is spinning. I walk out the door, and I fall to my knees. I fall to my knees immediately. Um, my child's father ran to me, and I was cool with the ladies, because all my kids were at the same doctor. They ran to me like, oh no, we got to get you up. We got to get you up. We got to get you up. Like, come on, you got to get up. We got to figure out what you got to do. We want you to go to the hospital and we can talk about some ways to get this done. So, as a mom, I know that I can't panic for too long. Um, I had to snap out of it for a minute to see what I had to do for my child. I I pulled it together for a minute and I listened to the options that they gave me. Those options were the options that I was given was they could vacuum my child out, but she would come out piece by piece. Okay. Piece by piece, she would have to come out. Now, what mother you think will want their child piece by piece? I damn sure don't want my child piece by piece. So at this point, it's like I'm getting myself together, but I'm not there. But they're asking to vacuum out my child. Then the other option was to have her, like deliver her. As I did say, I've had two C-sections, and for medical reasons, I had to have those. But because my child was so small, she was so small, I was able to vaginally have her. So that after I left the doctor's office, it's sad because I had to call my job first. And It's sad because we have to do that in order for them to even give us the day off or even give us the time off. Once again, working in a factory. So they don't care. They don't care what medical problems you have going on. Long as you have their products out, that's all they care about. So give me a second here. Oh no, 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 no. Let's see. But as I was saying about it, they don't care. So I had to make that horrifying message to my boss, like, I can't come in today. And then I lost it on the phone with that person. No, that's neither here or there. But I freaking lost it. I lost it so bad. Then I called, my family members, of course, let them know what happened. And then after that uh whole debacle, I went home. I cried. I cried so much. Cried so much. But there's absolutely nothing I could do. I was still pregnant at this moment. Like, I had just found out the worst news that any mother could find out ever. Um, so with that being said, I couldn't do nothing but go home and cry, have a meltdown. Like, I cry so much, like, because I knew this was the last moment I would ever have with my child. You know what I mean? 5 months, you're like, oh, nothing can happen at 5 months. Not 5 months. You know what I mean? Um, but as the time came for us to go to the hospital that very next morning to go ahead and start literally a delivery process, not a vacuum, but a whole delivery, like the pitocin, the monitors, literally everything, like a regular delivery. My brain is still not here. This is not surreal. This is like, why is this happening? That's all I could think of. Why is this happening? Why is this happening? And then it sucks so bad because I literally went through a whole delivery process for 24 hours in order to have her. So at this point, she's been dead for literally probably a week, not even a week. And now I have to wait a whole nother 24 hours to have my child. And it was just, it honestly did not hit me. It didn't hit me until that very next day. And I was like, I gotta use the bathroom. I'm at the hospital. They didn't, they was like, might as well just go ahead and, um, start this process, you know, stayed at the hospital. Nothing happened. I was just, going through the delivery process, literally just going through the pains and aches and all that. That very next day, about 12 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm like, I gotta use the bathroom, yada, 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 yada. And next thing you know, I get up and my water broke. Mind you, this is the first time my water is ever broken because, like I said, I've always had C sections. with that being said, it was like really scary to me. Like, and at the time, my child's father was at home getting ready for work. Once again, things can't stop just because your life is breaking down, and it sucks so bad because we're going through something super traumatic, but there is nothing there to protect people that is going through something like this. Not in factory life, put it like that. um Water broke while I was on the phone. He was on his way, but he was like, fuck it, let's go to the hospital. um I was panicking, I was freaking out. It was just unreal at this point. Like, I'm having my dead child. That's all I kept thinking to myself. I'm having my dead child. Like, at this point, I'm like, okay, call the nurses. Bam, hitting the emergency things in the bathroom because I was on my way to the bathroom. Lord behold, I don't know why, but I cleaned up the mess before I actually sat down and all the nurses came in there. I cleaned up my own mess. I don't know why. Don't ask me why I did it, but I did. Okay. Um the nurses came in, everybody came in. Next thing you know, they're telling me like, hey, okay. I still went and used the bathroom, which is crazy. I still peed. And then as I came out from washing up and things of that nature, which is once again still not okay with me, it's just, and I get to the bed and Lord behold, once I hit that bed, she came out right on the bed. So right in time. Now, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to react. And I'm like, just please don't put her on me. Just please don't put my baby on me. Now, ah, and the next thing you know, she put her right on my chest. And I was just like, I lost my breath. I lost my breath. Mm. Because it was just, once again, you're taken back by what's going on. And I was like, I just told this lady, please don't do that, and she did it anyway. But I regret to this day that I didn't hold her longer. I regret it. I regret it so bad because it's like I should have just took that moment a little bit longer, because little did I know after that I wouldn't be able to hold her. I wouldn't be able to see her. It was just, you know, be obsolete. Now, while I'm over here making a mess of things, uh, I hope you guys can hear me just fine. Because at this point, we're just going all in. All right. Um, yes, I do apologize. This is triggering because yeah, whew, it's something heavy that I had to deal with, like, alone. Like, not alone per se, but I didn't go to a therapist. I did try to go to little groups here and there. I did join Facebook groups, but in all reality, I think I should have just went ahead and went to a therapist. Now, one of my regrets is not going to see a therapist after all of this happened, because like right after that happened, it's just like my life went down. Like everything started crashing at the same time. So her death was her birthday was August 4th. Her birthday was August 4th. And from that day, okay. Oh man. Okay. Okay. Give me a second here. Okay. It looks like we're having some trouble. Ah, hopefully we got it in. Okay. Ooh, I'm just trying to make sure that everybody hears this. Like I said, at my expense, I don't mind because I've been through it 3 times, and mm, let's just say it is just not the best because I regret a lot of things, and I wish I could have did things a little bit differently. Um, but the major keys is I wish I would have taken a little bit more time when she placed her on my chest, because like I said, right after that, I was not going to be able to hold her, touch her, nothing. Okay. So here it is. I I stayed there for I don't know how long, just sitting there. She was just there, and it was like, okay, we gotta take her. We gotta take her. And I was just like, no. Like you're no, it's okay. And at this point I'm like crying some more and trying to, gather myself, because I do have other babies and I have to be there for them. And as a mother, you know how society puts you today. If you take your mind off your kids for a minute, then you're selfish. And at that moment I'm like, okay, I have to get out of hurt mode to be in mommy mode. Once again, mothers go through this every day, like dealing. So I'm like, okay, let's go ahead and just, it's okay. I gotta go be with my babies. That's what helped through all of this, being with my 2 babies that I had prior. So I leave from the hospital, but before I left, they gave us a few things, like where the, cremations and things like that. I was just like, this is just way too much. Just happening too quickly. Okay, everything is happening too quickly, and I can't focus. I cannot focus. There is nothing on this world at that moment could get me to focus in on getting funeral arrangements and cremations and things like that. I didn't want to deal with it. So I leave out the hospital with my child's father, and we're like, okay, but we have to, but we have to. And I went ahead with the arrangements, did everything, and I literally have her in an urn, and she's about this small, and it's super cute, and it was just everything to me, and I literally freak out if I can't, you know, make sure she's in sight of somewhere that I can see. Okay. But I didn't deal too well. Like right after that, things started happening in my life that I knew it was because I was just so depressed. I was at one point suicidal, and it was just everything happening at once. And I went through that alone, and I wish I would have got a therapist. I wish, because it's something that was needed at the time for my healing. And I was just like, you know what? I'm a Black woman. I can handle it. I gotta do it. I gotta go back to work. I gotta be with my babies. I gotta. And it's so sad that if you're living paycheck to paycheck, you have to keep going. It doesn't matter if you've just had a loss. They don't care about that. They give you 2 days or a few days, and then you come back to work. That's just the way it is. You have to. And it's so sad because why do we have to do that? We just went through something so traumatic that it's on the scale of PTSD, but yet I have to come back to work. I have to show my face. I have to be brave because I got babies. Oh my goodness. Hi you guys. I do see you guys here. But just speaking to you guys that are going through this, I've been through it. Stillbirth and 2 miscarriages. Um, both times, all 3 times, I still had to go back to work. And it's just like I wish that rules was a little different for females, because when it come down to them taking off for child trauma or childbirth, it's still looked down upon, if it makes any sense. So it's like they don't care if you just had a miscarriage. Are you coming to work tomorrow? Will you be here? Oh, I'm just asking. You know what I mean? It's just, it sucks. It sucks. But it's just like it was so surreal. You know what I mean? After it happened, I literally went back to work not too long after that, and it was just, life was bad. All I could do was think about, what did I do wrong? Why was she not here? What did I do? Like, what did I do so bad in my life that my child was taken? And I literally hated everything and everybody, and it was just so chaotic. I couldn't pull it together. It was like I knew I was depressed, but there was nothing I could do about it. You don't have the money to pay a therapist. You don't have any friends to talk to. It was just so hard at that time, but it was like, don't worry. You still got your babies that are here, because what I kept getting back after it happened was, oh, you already got 2 kids. Oh, um, you'll be fine. And don't worry, it wasn't meant to be. Or it was just so much. I call it word vomit, because that's what the fuck it is. It's word vomit because people don't understand. It's unsensitive at the moment. And I get it. I do get it, because at one point I was the same way when I didn't have kids, so I didn't understand. So my mom always tells me, count it against the head, not the heart, because they don't know any better. But I got a lot of it. I got a lot of it once again because I had two kids. So they're like, "Oh, you got at least you got kid. At least I got kids. At least I got kids." Or, um, "Don't worry, it wasn't meant to be." Or, you know what I mean? It was just those same, you know, words that everybody is saying, and you're in your mind, you're curled up in a ball in the back of your brain. So it's like going over you, even though you hear it. And it's just like every day I wanted to curl up in a ball and just not exist. Not being able to express that though, it put something in my heart that I would never want anybody to feel. So it's like every time I see a mommy that is pregnant and things of that nature, I would get so sad, like so sad, so jealous and sad. And that's, like I said, I put something in my heart that I never wanted to be there, and it was jealousy. Because why are you jealous of another person? But hey, that's just what life is. And I had to regroup myself because I'm like, why am I being jealous of this person? They're just experiencing something that you had. But at the time it was perceiving as jealousy in my head. And mind you, I wasn't saying this to anybody because I didn't want to come off as, oh, she's just jealous because she lost her kid. But it was that, and that's why I knew I needed to stay to myself. And I knew I didn't need to be around anyone at that time because it wasn't going to be perceived right. And I'm not that type of person. I'm not nowhere near jealous, but in a traumatic situation like that, I was definitely jealous of any and everyone that had that type, any good news. I was just not here for it. So with that being said, I literally, after that happened, like I said, it was a domino effect of things happening in my life, and it was just spiraling out of control. I literally lost my place. I damn near lost my I literally lost my job. So at that time it was just everything crumbling, and all I could think of is, why is my baby not here? Like, my life is being upside down, and I'm thinking, like, why is my kid not here? And with that being said, I end up getting pregnant again. And it was like, oh, you know, didn't you just have a miscarriage? And you know what I mean? It was just people just constantly in my ear about it. And I was just like, I'm not gonna tell anyone that I'm pregnant. So it's like I start keeping stuff away from people a little bit more. I stopped sharing a lot of things just because it's like I just went through a traumatic loss, like actually spending 5 whole months pregnant, then turn around and have her and she's dead, and turn around months later and find out that you're pregnant. It was like it did something to my mental. And not only did it put something in my mental about my baby that was not here, but the baby that I was having, it did something to me. It was like, are you supposed to be her, or are you here to make this better? Are you here? Why are you here? Why did this one make it? Like, I started questioning things about my body, things that I was probably doing wrong, eating. I don't know. I started just putting self sabotage basically in my brain. And it was just, I kept it so secretive. I was depressed the whole pregnancy because it was like, as I was going to the doctor, she was still telling me, like, you're still grieving. You're still, and she was even telling me, like, hey, do you think you should be having a new one? And it's like, you're my doctor, though. You're not here to tell me, like, do you think you should be having a new one? I just felt that it was not supportive enough. But once again, it was just me being sensitive to the fact of what was happening to my life. Um, but as it came, had my baby, I was still depressed like for years. Like I've been depressed for years now. And it kept me reserved. It kept me to myself and it kept me to my babies. Um, and it also affects friendships. It does because it hurt me from forming friendships. Yeah, I can watch you over the net all day, but it kept me from calling people. It kept me from uh, just being. I ate more, so I gained more weight. It was just a whole thing, and I've I could not get out of it. So after having this kid, once again, I'm still depressed, and everything is still not working out for the better. Got pregnant again, lost it. I said, this cannot be real. Like, this can't be real. This can't be real. And nevertheless, because it was a miscarriage this time, meaning right in the toilet type of thing, because I had to go to the emergency room because I started bleeding. And at that moment, they just straight up told me, like, if you're still bleeding in the morning, you're going through a miscarriage, and that's that. I'm like, oh, well, that's that. That's fucking that. I guess. I guess that's how they were handling it. Like if you still bleed in the morning, that's how they were handling the whole situation. And I was just like, okay, okay. I, I what am I supposed to say? That's I was basically lost for words. Like, okay, they just sent me home, and I'm like, this is just unreal, unreal. It's like I don't understand. And mind you, I like I said, I learned my lesson from 2016, and I did not tell anyone. I didn't tell anyone that I was pregnant, didn't tell anyone I was expecting. So I was like, okay, cool, forget it. Did nobody know? So I'm the only one hurt. Fast forward, pregnant again. And everybody just started, was like, didn't you just, so I always got those, did you just? And it was just like, I didn't know what to say. You know, I felt uncomfortable about the situation. I they made me feel bad about having kids, if that makes any sense. And I just want you guys to know, don't let anyone make you feel bad about having kids, because you're the only people that are raising your kids. They don't help you put food in their mouth. They don't help you put them to bed when they're sick. You're the one taking care of them. So don't let anyone shame you. It was like they were shaming because I just had a miscarriage or just had another baby, or it was just basically shaming me. So I kept it to myself, and I didn't really talk. I stay reserved, and this made me feel even more reserved, like I have no one to talk to. So I'm not even gonna tell anyone from here on out. So at this point, I stopped telling people that I was pregnant altogether. And when they found out I was pregnant, it was after the baby got here. They didn't even know, like, a year later, and before I had my last one, like, no, I'm sorry. Right after I had my last one, I had another miscarriage. And it was like, okay, this is scaring me to the point I don't want to do it anymore. Maybe it's not in my future to have another kid. Maybe it's not for me. And it's like, well, where am I getting my maybes from? I'm getting the maybes from the people that already put that in my head. And it was just like, you know what? Okay, I gotta figure this out for me. I gotta maybe it's time for me to step back, because at this point, why? What is going on? You know? And I had to take into consideration. Now, I had my last kid right right before COVID hit. Okay. Right before COVID hit, January 17th, I had my beautiful baby boy. Um, Once again, another C-section. So, by the way, that is 5 C-sections. Five. 5 C-sections, one stillbirth, two miscarriages. Um, right after I had my baby in Jan 2020, I got sick really bad. Like, I had 2 types of MRSA in my blood. I was literally on monitors, heart monitors. I was I had a PIC line. It was just all bad. Like, the whole experience, I do not wish it on anyone. And all I could think about the whole time I was in the hospital. So I got out the hospital 3 days later, and then was at home for a few days and ended up having to go right back to the hospital. So mind you, I didn't have any time with my newborn and my little one, or any of you call them the LOs, which is little one. Um, didn't have any time with them. Mind you guys, still freaking depressed, okay? Like, you can literally be depressed for years and then not show the way that you think normal depression shows. But as I was away from my baby, who was not even a week old, I started dwelling into like really bad ideas. Like, what if I die and I don't get to see my baby? And it's just like, I'm putting, like, what is, putting ideas in my head. Like, my anxiety was so bad in the hospital. I hated it. I hated being in the hospital. I was there for literally 3 weeks. Got out the hospital, and all I could do is, connect with my child. And it's like, I felt I missed the major weeks that I was supposed to be with him. And that just put me in a worse spot. So as time goes on, it's like, this baby is growing up, and I'm not feeling the way I'm supposed to feel because I have a pick line literally until March. And it's like, I can't interact and I'm trying to breastfeed. It's just a whole thing. And I just, I couldn't deal with everything that was happening. Now, my experiences with all of this, uh, it showed me in a way of what self destruction really looks like. And it's like, still to this day, I'm picking myself up because I've never openly talked about me having a stillbirth. Like, people know, but a lot of people don't know about it because I feel like it's not everyone's business. However, with me going through it, I feel like it could be a something that can help somebody else and what they can do to get through it, because you don't necessarily get over it. And it's not that easy. You still cry, you still have thoughts, you still daydream, you still wonder, you still have nightmares about it. Do you think that they're watching over you? Are they protecting the babies that you already have, their angel? You know what I mean? So it's like, it's things that you always think about. And it's like, when bad things happen to my kids, I'll be like, that's your sister protecting you. hmm it's definitely your sister protecting you, because that's what I would want to think that she's doing. She's protecting them. She's being their angel. And I promise, every time I sleep or I think or I daydream, it's definitely about her. And sometimes I even find myself being guilty of when I don't think about her. And it's like, is it wrong that the times that I don't think about her, am I forgetting her? And I never want to be able to be like, yeah, I forget my kid. No, no way, no way possible that I can forget one of the blessings that was blessed to me. And I had to think of it this way: she was here for a purpose and she served her purpose. But That didn't come till years later, because my thoughts of it, why did God take my baby? I was angry at God for a while. Like, he doesn't love anything about me, because he wouldn't have took my baby. He wouldn't have taken something from me that was so precious, so innocent. But as time go on, I was like, she served her purpose. And just to say that she's not hurting, because once they did figure out what was wrong with her, she had fluid on her brain, and she would have had issues for the rest of her life. And I had to take in consideration the mommies that are, going through this as we speak. And I really do, I commend them, because at least they have their babies, but they're definitely going through day-to-day struggles. And I completely understand. Still jealous, but I understand. I definitely, you know, with time was able to adjust, but I still can't cope with it. As you can see, I'm a mess about it. But I feel that she served her purpose for that moment. And I will forever have a heaven baby. Some people do call them rainbow babies after you have a kid. So I consider, I have two rainbow babies, to be honest. And I never forget my heaven baby. Like, I just started talking to my kids about her, and they don't quite understand. So I ease it on to them. And they question a lot of it. Now, um oh, mamas, I am so sorry for you guys' loss. And yeah, the ER, they don't care. They don't care. They don't care how or what they say to anyone. They just, yeah, they don't care how they talk to people. It is what it is. They're just there to give you the prognosis, and send you on your way. It's up to you to figure out, hey, do you want to deal with this or not? But every day I think about my baby, and every day I think about, she would have been 6, and she would have been just as sassy as my other babies. And I wonder how she would look. I wonder how she would act. How she would act, because all my babies are different in their own way. And it's just, I feel there's a void there every time, because I know she's supposed to be here. But with that being said, I know I will never be able to see her. Um, you guys, I really do appreciate y'all giving me the moment to express what was going on. And if you do want to hear more of my stories, go ahead and just put it in the comments and let me know um, what you would like to know, or um, more specific questions about it, because this is something that I can definitely talk about all the time. I mean, waterworks will happen, because, like I said, I'm getting through it day by day, and it's been since 2016. She would have been going on 6 in August of this year. So every year I try or want to let off balloons for her or do something safe, because the environment, but I do want to do something very safe for her every year for her birthday. And I want it to be just peaceful. Like, that'll be my therapy. Also, with talking to a therapist, it will definitely help because some of those therapists, they went through it and they just there to do their job, but they understand. So I I I don't knock any person going to a therapist and getting it checked out, or also making sure that you guys mates are okay, because not only did I go through this, my mate went through it as well. So you do have to understand they're going through it with you, and you need to be understanding to him as well. And I only say that for the people who are actually in their, females' lives and things of that nature. I'm not saying just anybody you can, you know, just make I'll leave it at that, but it's gonna be okay. Not today though. It's gonna take some time for it to be fixed, for it to be healed, and you just literally have to find something that takes your mind off of it enough that it's peaceful, like it's therapy. That's something you can do. I'm not saying turn to alcohol or anything like that. I'm not saying don't do that. I'm not saying do, but if you do, just be responsible with it. And if you find that yourself you're doing it too much, please seek additional help because you don't want it to be even worse. Um, I do appreciate y'all listening to me. And like I said, if you have any questions about, you know, going through these loss, let me know. I'm always here to help. Bye, mamas. Bye, guys.